I am pressed against the gate so closely that its cold pattern stamps itself through my coat. The metal smells of rust and old breath. Frost clings to the latch at eye level, thick and dark where hands have worn it smooth. My fingers are numb, but I keep them wrapped around the strap of my bag, because letting go feels worse than pain. The gate is closed. It has always been closed. I tell myself this like a rule that cannot be broken. Behind me, someone shifts her weight. Boots scrape dirt. The sound crawls up my spine and settles between my shoulders. I do not turn. Turning would mean faces, and faces would mean counting. The cold slips inside my sleeves and presses against my wrists. My stomach tightens in a way that is not hunger exactly. It is the memory of hunger, a hollow that learned to stay even when food appeared. I pull my scarf higher, rough wool scraping my chin, and taste dust when I breathe. Beyond the gate there is a sound, not shouting, not running. Just metal touching metal, deliberate and close. I lift my bag an inch, testing its weight, then set it back down because my arm shakes. The strap bites into my palm. My breath shortens without permission, quick and shallow, like I'm already moving fast. I tell myself to keep my eyes open. Whatever happens will come quicker if I see it. The latch trembles. Frost flakes off in tiny white pieces and drops to the ground. It does not open yet. The space between this moment and the next stretches thin, tight as ice before it cracks, and I cannot tell if it will hold. My feet are planted so firmly that I feel the ache climb into my calves. The ground is frozen unevenly, small ridges pressing back through thin soles. I curl my toes, then stop, afraid even that small movement might draw attention. The air tastes stale, every breath feels borrowed, and I wait for it to be taken back. Somewhere metal shifts again, closer now, and my pulse answers it. I stay still, counting nothing, bracing for a sound that has not arrived. Yet silence stretches, heavy, refusing to tell me comes next. Time thickens here. It gathers in my legs until they ache, and every minute feels like it has weight. I shift my weight, and the ground answers with frozen ridges that push back through my soles. Somewhere in the line, a woman coughs. The sound snaps sharp, and then dies as if swallowed. I keep my eyes forward, fixed on the gate, because turning would mean counting faces, and I cannot do that without losing something. I have stood like this before, in lines that did not move until they did, suddenly, all at once. My body remembers faster than my mind. My jaw clenches without asking. I press my tongue to the roof of my mouth and taste iron, like I have bitten myself in my sleep. My hands tighten on the bag strap until my knuckles burn. I lift the bag, set it down again. A small motion, only to prove I can still choose one thing. The gate fills my vision. A chip in the paint looks like a crescent moon. Near the bottom, a dark stain bleeds into the snow where it never quite stays white. I stare at that stain until my eyes blur, then blink hard. The cold makes my lashes stick. I rub my thumb over the strap where the leather is cracked, feeling each split as if it were a seam in my own skin. There are men on the other side. I know this without seeing them. The air carries a different smell now, oil, tobacco, and something sweet I don't recognize. That sweetness tightens my chest more than the tobacco does. Warnings come back in fragments. A picture, a phrase, a voice kept low so children would not hear. They rise up now without asking, and my stomach pulls inward as if to make room for fear. My shoulders creep upward toward my ears. I force them down. The scarf itches where sweat has dried. I breathe into it, dampening wool, and the breath comes back cold on my lips. The latch makes a sound again, louder this time. I swallow and my throat scrapes dry. No one speaks. I wait for a command that does not come, and the waiting itself begins to feel like a test I don't understand. The gate opens a hand's width. Cold air rushes through the gap and strikes my face like a slap. I flinch before I can stop myself. My shoulders lift, tight and braced. When I notice my hands, they are already halfway up, palms empty, fingers spread. I did not decide this. My body chose before I could argue. Through the narrow opening, I see a sleeve. The color is wrong from what I expected, darker, duller. The fabric looks heavy, creased sharply at the elbow. I fix my eyes on that crease, on the way the cloth bends and straightens, because it is easier than lifting my gaze higher. My bag slips from my grip and knocks against my leg. The sound is loud in my head. I grab it before it can fall, my heart beating so hard my ears ring. Behind me, a voice trembles, thin and close. The words hang in the air, fragile. I don't know if they came from my mouth or only from my thoughts. No answer follows. Silence settles back in, heavier for having been disturbed. The gap widens. Boots appear, planted solidly on the other side. They are cleaner than ours, the leather dark and intact. Is itself a kind of betrayal? My hands shake where they hover. My arms ache from holding them up, muscles burning, but lowering them feels impossible, like stepping off a ledge. A new smell reaches me. Soap, sharp and unfamiliar. It mixes with sweat, cold, and the sourness rising in my throat. I take one step back without meaning to, heels scraping ice, then stop because there is nowhere to go. The bodies behind me hold firm. The gate creaks wider. The sound crawls along my nerves. The space between inside and outside stretches, uncertain. I stand with my hands raised above worn fabric, unable to tell which side of the opening I belong to now, or what crossing would even mean. I lift my eyes. I don't want to, but the effort of not looking becomes heavier than the fear of what I might see. Faces come into focus slowly, as if my vision resists them. Helmets. A mouth working a piece of gum. I count these things the way I once counted steps on a stair, steady and deliberate. One of them looks at my hands. I feel it like pressure on my wrists, as if something has been set there. My arms shake harder. I lower them an inch, testing the air, then freeze. I wait for a shout, a blow, anything. Nothing happens. The silence stretches and presses against my ears until my own breathing pushes back. The gaze shifts to my bag. I pull it closer to my body without thinking, knuckles whitening. The fabric scrapes against my coat and makes a small, tearing sound. My shoulders hunch inward. I feel smaller than I did a moment ago, reduced by my own grip. The smell of cigarettes grows stronger, sharp enough to sting my eyes. I blink and tears spill over, sudden and hot. I swipe at my cheek with the back of my glove, leaving the wool damp and dark. I keep my head still, afraid movement might be read as defiance. I expect a gesture, a command, a sudden rush that will settle this waiting. Instead, there is only standing, only looking. My heartbeat slows just enough for me to hear it again, thick and uneven in my chest. My legs tremble with the effort of staying upright. No one speaks. No one explains. I cannot tell if this pause is mercy or delay or something that has no name at all. The uncertainty settles into my chest and stays there, heavy and unresolved, pressing down as I wait for it to change. My fingers tingle as blood creeps back, pins of pain blooming under the skin. I flex them once, then stop. The air feels watched. Even blinking seems loud. I stand inside that attention, unsure whether it will lift or suddenly fall. My breath measured and thin, counting nothing, waiting for the next movement to decide me. It does not, and the waiting stretches again without offering shape or direction to me. A hand lifts, not toward me but sideways, palm down, a motion that feels like it could become a strike if I misunderstand it. My eyes follow the hand without permission. The palm dips once, steady, telling air to settle. Then the fingers point, not sharply, just enough to mark the space beyond the gate. I hesitate with my weight on my back foot. My legs feel borrowed, slow to obey. The cold has stiffened my knees. I swallow and feel my throat drag. I take one step forward. The ground changes under my boot. Packed dirt gives way to something softer, churned and damp. My heel sinks a little and my balance wobbles. I windmill an arm to steady myself and hate how clumsy I look. No one laughs, no one speaks. Only the truck somewhere idling and the faint click of a buckle. As I move, my body comes back to me in pieces. The ache low in my back. The damp rub of fabric at my neck where sweat has dried. The way my stomach cramps when I straighten. I pass close enough to smell wool and the faint sourness beneath soap. I hold my breath until my chest burns, then let it out in a thin stream. Another gesture. A finger taps twice on a crate. The sound is soft, but it lands inside my ribs. I stop. I set my bag down on the wood because that seems to be what is wanted. The strap slides off my shoulder and my skin stings where it is cut in. The bag feels lighter the instant I let go, and that absence startles me more than carrying it did. Crate wood is splintered in a corner. I keep my eyes on the splinter. Fingertips hover over the lid as if I might be told to open it. A man clears his throat. The sound makes shoulders jump hard. I stand there with empty hands, unsure where to put them. I clasp them together, fingers interlaced, then separate them again, palms damp. The space around me feels exposed, unfinished, like a doorway without a door. I have moved, but I don't know if it was the right direction. I wait for correction that may or may not come. The noise I expect never arrives. No shouted words, no sharp commands. Instead, there is a quiet that feels wrong, like a room after all the furniture has been dragged out, and the walls are still listening. I hear an engine somewhere, idling low. Wind lifts loose paper and drops it again. Boots shift position with soft scuffs that seem too careful. I am told to wait without words. I stay near the crate, close enough that I could touch it if I wanted to. My hands hover in front of me as if the bag might vanish if I don't watch it. My fingers tingle, partly from cold, partly from being empty. I rub them together once, slowly, then stop, afraid the motion might be misread. A canteen appears in a hand that is not mine. It is held out, not pushed. I stare at it longer than I should. The metal catches light and flashes once. My mouth waters before I can stop it. With both hands, careful not to brush skin. The canteen is heavier than I expect, cold enough to sting my palms. I raise it to my lips and hesitate. The opening smells faintly of metal and water. I tip it. Water spills down my chin and soaks into my scarf. It is so cold it hurts my teeth. I swallow anyway, twice, then force myself to stop. My throat tightens as if it might refuse more. I lower the canteen and hand it back quickly, as if keeping it longer might change the rules. The hand closes around it and withdraws. No comment follows. No nod. My chest stays tight, not eased. I wipe my mouth with my sleeve and taste metal, water, and fear together. Nothing has happened the way I imagined it would. That unsettles me more than if it had. The quiet remains, thicker now, crowded with thoughts that do not line up. I wait, unsure what this pause is preparing me for. I am on the other side of the gate now, though it does not feel like a crossing. The gate still stands open behind me, a dark rectangle against the lighter sky. I glance back once, quick and sharp, then force my head forward again. The skin along my neck prickles as if someone has traced a finger there. We are moved a few steps at a time. Not a march. Small corrections. A hand lifting, a body shifting. I follow the woman ahead of me and keep my eyes on the frayed hem of her coat. With each step, it swings and settles. My boots leave shallow prints that fill with slush almost immediately. I notice this and wonder how long any mark lasts here. A truck idles nearby. The sound vibrates through my ribs and into my teeth. Exhaust hangs low and sour. When my bag is handed back to me, I clutch it too tightly at first, then loosen my grip. The weight is familiar and strange at the same time. I sling it over my shoulder and feel the strap bite into the same place it always has. One of the men steps aside to let me pass. The space opens suddenly, and I move through it, aware of my own smell, of stale wool and damp skin. My hair has slipped loose from its pins. I tuck it back with numb fingers. My hand brushes my cheek and I realize I'm still shaking. Small tremors I cannot stop. No one explains anything. No one promises anything. The lack of words leaves too much room. Every step feels provisional. I keep waiting for the moment when this becomes what I was warned about, when the shape of the day reveals itself clearly. It does not arrive. Instead, there is only movement and stopping, stopping and movement, and the effort of not assuming. When we halt again, cold creeps deeper into my boots. I shift my weight and stare at the ground, counting nothing, bracing for something I cannot name, unsure whether it is coming toward me or already standing beside me. It happens without ceremony. A piece of bread appears on the crate between us. It is cut unevenly, the crust cracked and pale inside. I stare at it, certain it is not meant for me. My stomach twists sharply, pain blooming hot and immediate. No longer something remembered, but something alive. A knife comes down once. The sound is dull, final. The bread splits. One half is nudged toward me with the flat of the blade. I do not move. My feet feel anchored to the ground. I look from the bread, to the hand, to the ground and back again, as if the order might rearrange itself. I reach out slowly, fingers stiff, as if the air might resist me. My hand closes around the bread. It is warmer than I expect. The warmth surprises me enough that my eyes sting. I pull it back toward my chest, then lower it, embarrassed by the instinct to shield it. I take a bite. The crust scrapes my lip. Crumbs scatter across my coat and cling to the damp wool. I chew too fast and nearly choke, a hard knot catching in my throat. I force myself to slow down, to swallow properly, to breathe through my nose. The bread tastes plain and solid. It settles heavy in my stomach, a weight I welcome and distrust. No one watches closely, no one comments. The knife is wiped on a trouser leg and put away. The simplicity of it leaves me unsteady. I expected cruelty or kindness, something clear. Instead, there is this small, practical act that fits neither picture I carried. I hold the remaining bread in my hand. The crust presses into my palm. I cannot decide whether to eat it now or save it. The choice feels important for reasons I cannot name. I slip it into my bag, then pull it back out again, heat already fading. The uncertainty presses in, close and quiet, and does not lift. I watch my hands as they tremble slightly, crumbs dusting my fingers. I brush them away, then stop, afraid of losing even that. Around us, the air stays still. No one urges me. The moment stretches. Later is quieter, but it is not peace. We are told where to sit by a tilt of a head and the pause of a hand. I lower myself carefully, joints stiff, close enough to the others that our coats brush. The ground is cold through the fabric immediately. I tuck the bread into my bag, then take it out again, then put it back. My hands keep finding it, checking its weight, its shape, as if it might vanish if left alone. The light changes without warning. What was flat and gray stretches longer, thinner. Shadows pull away from boots and crates and lengthen across the ground. The open gate is no longer the center of everything, but my eyes return to it again and again. My body still expects something final to happen there, a closing sound, a command, a turning point. Water comes again. I sip this time, careful, letting only a little touch my lips. They are cracked and sting. I press them together and feel the skin pull. The cold seeps upward from the ground and settles in my hips and lower back. I draw my knees closer and wrap my arms around my bag, the strap cutting into my forearm. Around me, small sounds continue. Fabric rustles. Someone clears her throat. Boots shift their weight. No one meets my eyes for long. I'm grateful for that and unsettled by it. Without orders, I do not know how to measure time. I do not know how to measure safety. I replay the moments that did not fit what I expected. The stillness. The waiting. The bread. I turn them over in my mind, trying to stack them into something solid. They refuse. They stay loose, sharp at the edges. As the sky darkens, I realize my fear has changed shape. It is no longer a single point ahead of me. It has spread out, thin and constant, woven into the quiet. I do not know what tomorrow will ask. I only know that this day has not finished with me yet, and the waiting has followed me here. Thin and exposed, and I wait for it to change without guidance or relief. Night comes without announcement. One moment the ground is gray, the next it has dissolved into shadow. I lie on my side with my coat pulled tight, the fabric stiff and creased beneath me. The earth presses hard against my shoulder and hip. My bag is tucked under my arm. Inside it, the bread rests against my ribs, a dull pressure that rises and falls with my breathing. Its presence is steady, undeniable. I flex my fingers slowly. They ache, a deep soreness that carries memories with it. Cold, metal-biting skin, the rough warmth of crust, the emptiness of air when my hands held nothing. My palms smell faintly of bread and oil. I lift them to my face and breathe in once, quietly, then lower them again, unsure why I needed to do that. Around me, breathing rises and falls in uneven rhythm. A cough breaks it, sharp and brief, then settles back into the dark. I keep my eyes open. Darkness shifts as clouds pass. Shapes form where crates and boots were, then dissolve again. Every sound pulls me halfway upright before I force my body back down. Muscles tight, jaw clenched. I think of the gate, the way it moved, the way nothing followed the opening the way I had expected. The question still hangs, unanswered, echoing without words. My body does not trust the quiet. It stays coiled, ready, even as exhaustion drags at my limbs and makes my eyelids heavy. I turn the bread over inside the bag without taking it out, feeling its rough edge through the cloth. The crust presses into my fingers. I do not know when I will eat it. I do not know what it means that it is there, so close. Sleep comes in shallow waves. I drift, then surface again, alert, listening. Between those moments, I remain suspended. Between what I feared and what actually happened, unable to settle fully into either, holding myself still, waiting for a sound that might decide everything.